Hi everyone, this week it is going to be a double header. There's going to be two parashiyot we are going to read this Shabbat. Naturally, like most years, it's going to be Vayakhel and Pekudei. We are going to read this Shabbat. Firstly, I'd like to dedicate this in memory of a very, very young person that passed away just under a year ago. His name was Daniel Yoel Ben Elisheva Root. Bez Hashem, may this be Lilu Nishmat him. And talking about Shabbat in this week's parasha, it's related over how God, Hashem, commanded Moshe about the mitzvot of Shabbat, also at a time when he was talking about the mitzvah of the Tabernacle, of the Mishkan, which Am Yisrael had to assemble, which was a resemblance partly of the Bet HaMikdash, which would stand on two separate occasions many hundreds of years later. So it's an important thing, one of the most important mitzvot in the Torah. Naturally, Shabbat, it's spoken about so much. And everything we should do around the week should be surrounding by the Shabbat. That's why every single morning in the Shacharit prayer, in the morning prayer, we say Hayom Yom Rishon, Hayom Yom Sheni, Hayom Yom Shlishi, Revi'i, Chamishi, Shishi, and we build it up to Hayom Yom Shabbat, the Shir of Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat, which we say. And everything we do during the week, we should have in mind that we're doing everything to gear ourselves up towards the Shabbat. Everything we buy, especially close to Shabbat, we should say Lichvod Shabbat Kodesh. This is going to be for Shabbat. We should try and purchase the best meats for Shabbat, the best food. We should use our best clothing, leave it for Shabbat. Have a special Shabbat shoes. The code of Jewish law relates over, and many different things. Very, very interesting. I want to share a story with regards to the importance of Shabbat, to honor Shabbat. There was once a story with regards to a man of the name Yosef Mokir Shabbat, which the Talmud relates over. Many of the classic Torah books and children books also relate over. In English country, Joseph honors the Shabbat. So who was this Joseph? Yosef. So we're talking about in the story that Yosef was a man that really honored the Shabbat. He always bought the best food for Shabbat, had the best clothing, everything. Whenever he saw something nice, he would reserve it and say, this is going to be Lichvod Shabbat Kodesh. That was his attitude. So one time, there was a wicked man in a city who was very, very, very wealthy, very, very rich. And he had a dream one night, and it was very, very agitated from the dream. And inside the dream, he found out the stargazers related over to him that this Joseph, this Yosef, this religious Jewish person is going to acquire all his wealth in some shape or form. So it's very, very furious, this guy, this wicked man was this wicked, very, very wealthy man, rich man. And he had all these orchards, all these different houses, all these different fields. And he said to himself, he's going to sell it all and buy one jewel, one very expensive jewel, probably worth millions and millions of dollars, and he'll carry it around with him the whole time, so he'll be able to protect all his wealth over there. That this Joseph is not going to be able to get it in some shape or form. He was that confident. So he did it. He tied it to his turban. Let's just pretend my kippah is like a turban and put it underneath there. I was walking all casually. He was all secure. There's no chance this Joseph, this Yosef, is going to be able to acquire his wealth in any shape or form. One time he was walking in a bridge and there was a big, big wind. And the wind flew his turban away. And this great, great big jewel, this very, very precious jewel, flew also into the sea. And wow, he's realized he's lost all his wealth over here. Hasta la vista, it's finito, all the wealth is. And absolutely devastated. He shouts, he tries to get it. He realizes it's probably deep down in the ocean now. Very, very funny. I'm speaking about wind, and a gust of wind has just blasted over here on this rooftop. So he realizes he's lost all his wealth. So a few hours later, a few fishermen come over there. They're fishing just before Shabbat, and this gigantic fish, they manage to rescue. They find this gigantic fish, and then they realize it's going to be Shabbat only in an hour or two. Who's going to buy this fish at such short notice? Who's going to do it? So they came to an idea. They said, let's go to Yosef. Yosef, he always wants to buy the best fishes, the best foods for Shabbat. Let's approach him and let's see. Let's try our luck. He might buy it. So they knocked on his door to Yosef, the person, and he said, automatically greeted them with a smile and everything else, and said, come inside, and said, do you want to buy this fish? So he thought in his brain he's really got a nice fish because he always buys the best for Shabbat. He says, you know what, this is the best. It's the best cut-off fish. I'm going to buy this for Shabbat. I will buy this fish, and bought this gigantic fish, and takes inside his living room. And he starts opening it with his kids and saying this Lichvod Shabbat Kodesh, for the honor of the Shabbat. And as he opens it up, he says, Ribbono Shel Olam, what an amazing, amazing fish. And look what I found. He's found this jewel, this precious margalit, as they call it in Hebrew. He found it and took it the next day and found that it was worth an exorbitant sum of money. And with gratitude to Hashem, he was now wealthy forever, could buy infinitely all the great Shabbat products and great foods for the week, and what bracha Hashem sent. At a later stage, he put a sign up outside of his house with gratitude to Hashem for the jewel that had been found. And this wicked Rasha, this wicked man, came and saw that there was this sign and this turban was his, and that all the wealth did actually end up going to Yosef at the end. Despite he sold it and did all these precautions, Hashem engineered the situation to Yosef, gained all his wealth, garnered all his wealth and all this richness because of the honor of the Shabbat he played, all the delicacies, all the priority he had for Shabbat. And that's how we should come in the week throughout all our tasks. We should be doing how we can make this a great Shabbat, how we can do everything, how we can gear up the whole week, garner up to have the best Shabbat possible, the best food, with the best attire, with the best Zmirot, potentially, and to prepare ourselves to have quality time with our families or with our loved ones, or to invite guests in and to make it a magical day. So this is early. We know I'm going to give another video with regards to Parshat Vayakhel, but this little neshama once again to Daniel Yoel ben Elisheva Ruth. Be'ez Hashem, his neshama is resting in a good place, and may we do acts of chesed and kindness in his zechut and his memory. Guys, in advance, have an awesome Shabbat Shalom V'rach, and have a great day. Bye.